Let's get talking for development. This is Hard Facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am yours truly, Kalada Korubatibo. I will be having a professional banker, I hope I can call him that, join the conversation as we look at, the current political dynamics in Rivers State. What do I mean? So yesterday, it's no longer news. The led we can translate it to mean that they have asked the government to shut down until the government submits the budget to the Martin Amewule-led assembly. And when I say shut down, government cannot spend money, cannot do anything. Remember, the title is government. It cannot execute anything if it's not spending money. Cannot even pay. So that is translating my opinion of governance. And Martin Amewule said that yesterday, or the Martin Amewule-led assembly said that yesterday, because they are saying if there is no budget, the constitution allows for a 6-month window with which the executive government can go ahead spending money from the consolidated accounts of the state, after which the government can no longer spend money until it submits a budget. So that is where we are. Remember, there is still the argument as to what assembly or which assembly is the authentic assembly. Now, some people are of the school of thought. I mean, you must have heard them several times on the show. I'm even tired of arguing with, both sides of the divide. But you've heard this school of thought say, oh, they have defected. The constitution says as long as there is no division in the party and as long as there is no merger, you lose your seats. Some have said, oh, it's not automatic. The speaker would have to be the one to declare the seats vacant. And in this case, the speaker at the time was part of the defectors. So the confusion in the land, all of that have been taken to the courts. For people like me, we're of the school of thought that we would wait for yet another interpretation of courts, maybe the Supreme Court this time, to help resolve this matter. But a lawyer told me yesterday that this matter may drag on up until, who knows, maybe the aspiration of these administration. Interesting, right? And I'm then thinking, if that is the case, what is the implication of the order given by the 27 yesterday during their plenary, where they called or placed an embargo? Joining me on the show this one afternoon is the chairman here in Rivers State, the Institute for Bankers of Nigeria, the Institute of Bankers for Nigeria. Or what am I saying? The Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, beg your pardon. I'm talking about Mr. Njoku Nkwachukwu. Is joining me via the telephone. I wonder if you can hear me loud and clear. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Canada.
All right.
Good afternoon, listeners.
Good afternoon. I understand you're a professional, and you should not, or you may not, align yourself with the political happenings in Rivers State. But I also want to believe that you are aware of the political happenings. And yesterday there was the talk about an embargo on public spending. How does that work? Will the bank just obey that order? What is the professional thing for whatever bank that houses the consolidated account of the state? What are they supposed to do at this point? I'm looking for a professional conversation with you. Once again, good afternoon and welcome.
Okay, thank you. To start with, I'm the state chairman of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIB and Rivers State branch.
Oh, okay.
And quickly, I'm not just following. I've not been following the trends or the political happenings in Rivers State. I'm a Rivers person. I'm from Rivers State. Okay. So I'm interested in what is happening in my state. Okay. So to quickly respond to your question, the Consolidated Revenue Fund account is a principal government account that receives all public monies, in tax revenues, fees and charges, fines and penalties, grants and aids, sales of government assets, interest on investments, and all that government receipts. So it's a principal account, it's a major account. And with regards to the management of the Consolidated Revenue Fund account, the public financial regulations, as we have it today, provides that there should be a parliamentary approval and oversight. Parliamentary approval, that is the position of the public finance regulation today. There should be a parliamentary approval and oversight. And parliamentary approval here means budget approval. And after budget, the oversight is like an audit process where the members of the parliament go out to check whether what is contained in the budget is actually what is the reality outside there. And if there is a variance, we note it and pick it as an exception and credit the relevant government agency that is concerned. So that is what they are to do. So if you look at principally, if you look at the financial regulations, there is no place where there is anything like or a phrase like shutdown of expenditure. There is nothing like that. What we have is parliamentary approval and oversight. That is what we have as of today. So the Consolidated Revenue Fund account, the CRF, is used to manage the finances of the government and pay for public services and programs, salaries and wages, goods and services, capital projects, debt financing, transfers to other government funds. So all that expenses are drawn from the Consolidated Revenue Fund account. So the management of the federal of the CRF is such that resides with the Ministry of Finance of each state. The Ministry of Finance of each state manages it. And with regards to the signatories to that account, you have principally the governor, you have the accountant general of the state, the commissioner of finance of the state. Then you may also have the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance and the chief treasurer of the state government. So these are the people that may be the signatories to the CRF.
Sorry, let me pause you. Let me pause you so I can get you clearly. So the governor, the deputy governor, the accountant general, the treasurer of the state, the commissioner for finance, and the permanent secretary, Ministry of Finance. Did I get you correct?
Yes, or the chief treasurer. The chief treasurer.
Okay.
Yes. It will be the governor or the deputy governor.
Okay.
But we know in Nigeria they will not use the deputy governor because of other political implications. So that is it. But that is the way it is. So this is the position. Then when you talk about the banking principles, there is what we call the confidentiality principle in banking. And that principle is such that it's only the signatories to a bank account that can give instructions for transactions to take place in that bank account, whether withdrawal, transfers, or any form of transaction. So the signatories are the ones, implying that the people I mentioned earlier are the people that the bank can see their letter or a letter coming from them. Then they will verify the signature and the bank will now proceed. Of course, you know that the bank cannot transact verbally. You cannot call bank and say, do this verbally, and they will do. They will rely on a well-written letter, backed up, signed by signatories, and those signatories, the signature on the document must be verified, and stamped before they will not execute. So those are the only people that the bank will listen to. Another people that the bank will listen to is security agencies like the EFCC, the NIFIU, or similar security agencies, and they'll be coming from the angle of the bank was the account was used for fraudulent purposes or for money laundering and things like that. And again, the bank will not accept verbal instruction. They will want a letter, a well-documented letter for these agencies, which they will have in their custody before they will put a kind of post-bill debit on that account. So that is the way it operates. Definitely, with what happened yesterday, from the other arm or the other faction of the state house assembly in River State, no bank will implement that. No bank will treat or listen to that until any of these things I just said happens. So that is the way it operates.
Okay, but in your explanation, while you were tutoring us, you made mention of the fact that there is what is written as parliamentary oversight. Now, let's assume that this is parliamentary oversight. Does the oversight allow for the parliament or the legislative arm of government to pause spending from the account in any way, given that the law or the regulations allow for an oversight?
Okay, the members of the parliament in performing the oversight function is like an audit function. If in your organization you have an audit department,
okay.
So what they will do is they will pick what we call infractions. That is where the people that are carrying out are spending the money, where they have not followed the rules, where they have not observed the regulations, where they have deviated from the way they're supposed to do it. So they will pick it, list it, and pick it as an infraction, maybe penalties or sanctions, and that is it. And not to say that expenditures has been shut down. Yes, it's not captured like that in our public finance regulations. That any arm of the government will just say that expenditures has been shut down, and they are practically, because sometimes you have to also look at the reality of things. There is no day that a state government, even a local government, will not make a 1 naira expenditure. We have the and it happens in the National Assembly. We watch them sometimes when they say they've gone for oversight and they have observed this, they've observed that, and then they will call the people, question them, and probably penalize them, sanction them, or ask for their removal. But in this case now, the legislators knows what to do. If actually they are the real ones that will be the sanctioned legislature in the end of this drama that is happening here. So okay, assuming what they said happens, and it happens that in the end maybe the thing goes to Supreme Court and they lose. So what will happen?
Interesting.
So
We'll go for a quick commercial, right? When we do come back, I have some questions to ask. Now, we assuming this is legal, assuming it is illegal. If there is a court order, one would expect the banks to obey. How will that work? But let's first go for a commercial break. Thank you. All right, you're still listening to Hard Facts in 92.3 Nigeria Info, 27 minutes to the top of the hour. And yes, we're looking at the declaration by the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly yesterday, asking or placing an embargo on spendings of the executive government. And I'm speaking with someone who's a professional in the banking industry, and he has been educating you and I as it relates to the processes, for such to be activated, if at all, like the arguments are ongoing, if at all they are the authentic assembly. Okay, welcome back, Mr. Njoku. Nkwachukwu, it's good to have you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Canada.
All right. So just before the break, you had given us a good explanation as to how the consolidated revenue account is run. And you said, the signatories are the only ones who can manage it. And the signatories are the people from the executive arm of government, from the governor down to the people that work with him. Then you've also said that the only way that order can become a reality is if, for instance, the security agencies like the FCC, ICPC, or NFIU would, jump in and try to investigate fraudulent activities from their account. However, I should state here that there is a perpetual injunction stopping the EFCC and other relevant agencies from looking into the account of River State. So I am guessing, even on that note, it removes the EFCC from taking a look at the account of the River State government. Then my next question would be, assuming, because we have a lot of court cases flying left, right, center, assuming that the Martin-led assembly goes to court and asks for an interim order, would the court obey the interim order?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kalada. And I believe strongly that the court does not work on sentiment. They work looking at the regulations, looking at the laws, and also facts and evidence. And it is on this basis that the court will reach a decision and make their pronouncement. So, as it is, the court can do whatever, especially in our system here. You and I know how it works. So it's unpredictable. But all I can tell you is that looking at the financial regulations as we have it today in Nigeria, not only in River State, in Nigeria, there is no arm of the government that will use the word shutdown expenditure. Even where you are sitting making that declaration, you are incurring costs. At the end of the day, the journalists that are interviewing you or cover the event will not go empty-handed. So, all those kind of things. So, there are better phrases to use. There are better phrases to use. So, using that, they sound good to those maybe in support of that thing, but the financial regulations looks at parliamentary approval, which takes place during budget approval. And when that is achieved, parliamentary approval has been concluded. Then the next role that the parliament will have to play is oversight, which is which continues until that budget year ends. So that is the way it works.
Okay.
And the parliament will just, through their oversight, pick infractions here and there, and not to say that a couple should not be spent again. It doesn't work that way.
So you would advise the River State government to ignore the statement by the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly, in your opinion, in your professional opinion?
In my professional opinion, it doesn't work. It's not something that is realistic, and it's not in our regulations, because the government, the executive arm should work. In this case, it should look at the regulations and do what is there.
Okay.
You understand? That is just, it doesn't work. It's not realistic. And it's not in our regulations. There's nothing like shutdown expenditure.
Okay.
There is nothing like that.
All right then. Okay, let's go to the phone lines quickly and take a listen to the views of our listeners who have been, getting to listen to you and I talk. 0817-923-0002 is the first number to call with. The second number is 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007. Those are the call numbers. I take them again. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007. Now, it is most likely that this may be another court case as we talk Rivers politics. We're yet to see. Because the Martin Amewde-led assembly are arguing that they are the authentic assembly. The other assembly led by Victor Kujumba are arguing they are the authentic. And so now that these order is out there, possibly will go to court, because you've heard what my guest has said, that the bank would not just obey the order because it's from supposed legislative house or the legislative arm of government. One. Two, that the people who manage the account are people from the executive arm of government, right? And three, there is the EFCC perpetual injunction, or should I say the perpetual injunction stopping the EFCC. So even the regulatory, the corruption regulatory agencies cannot even check the books of River State's account. So it's really interesting. Muriel is calling me from Okrika. Let's take a listen to her. Muriel, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Hi, KDB, good evening.
Greetings to you. Welcome.
See, KDB, what is happening in River State, when I look at it up and down, just think Mark Amewule and his group are trying to shut down this state. And thinking that when they do this, it's going to affect the governor just because they don't like him. Look, KDB, I think it's even a crime for any court to even accept anything, to even listen to Martin Amewule and his group. For me, I think it's against the law, honestly. So I don't have much to say, but I just believe that the silence of the governor, will yield enough results. Otherwise, what these people are doing, action should be met with action, honestly, very seriously. Thank you, Kennedy.
All right, thank you very much, Muriel. A gift from Yanegwa. A gift, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Kalada, thank you for bringing your guest. Let me greet him also. Good afternoon. And Kalada, let me put it to him that the assembly, they have that right to shut down that very consolidated revenue account. And the reason why I'm saying this, it should check section 121 and it should check section 122, then 188. Then you understand the power of parliamentary. House of Assembly, what they are talking about, you should listen carefully. Justice Omotosho has nullified the River State budget that they claimed people who don't have the quorum to form that quorum in the name of House of Assembly. If you go to what played out in Plateau State, where 6 men sat down to pass the budget, the same thing played out from the lower court up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court nullified it. That is where, if a competent court, up to this moment, no other higher court and free court has not overturned it. And people are joking.
Can I stop you now? So what does section 121 of the Constitution say? Can you help me?
It's talking about when a house is supposed to, when a governor is supposed to spend a particular amount.
No. So you see now, we mentioned it, and nobody has said that is wrong or not in the Constitution. As a matter of fact, the lawyer who came in yesterday also spoke on that. However, what we are saying is it the what is he called now? The duty of the legislative arm of government, to go and stop the running of an account, or is it a process that would have to go through the courts? And if it has to go through the courts, is it something that will be granted immediately?
You have 6 months in the previous budget.
I agree.
You know what is happening now?
What is happening?
It is because of that very Omotosho judgment that has nullified the budget. So you have only 6 months. It is only the House of Assembly that can give approval.
But I've agreed with you. But can you stop? You're not still getting the question I'm throwing at you. Can you stop the expenditure of government, even though they have flouted the law? Can the legislative arm stop?
Who is giving the approval? Yes, that is what I'm telling you.
So let me say something. It's not a shouting bout. Now, see. Legislative, executive, the judiciary are all arms of government. One is not over the other. One is not bigger than the other. So yet again, is there anywhere in the law that says when the law is flouted that the legislative arm of government should go and cage the executive arm of government? That's what we're talking about.
It is not about cage. You understand what I'm saying? I said approval must be given.
But that we all agree. We all agree approval must be given.
Approval from the River State House of Assembly.
Okay.
You cannot spend even ordinary 10 naira.
All right then. All right, Gift, I've got to go.
That is the law.
Okay.
We
all right.
forget about painting this thing.
All right, Gift.
Without the approval, who are you to spend? Whether you are executive
and
or
Gift,
executive.
I agree with you, but we're not talking about approval now. I've got Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Hello, good evening or good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Greetings to your guest. The situation in Rivers State is a very pathetic one. A very unfortunate one that could have been avoided. Again, government cannot spend 1 penny of money not appropriated for. 1 penny. The budget that was signed by Eris in a year have been thrown away by the judgment of Omotosho. And again, Martin Zamewule halting the government for spending state fund again also is a very unfortunate one because it's not everything in the state. Payment of worker salary. So how can a government run without money? So like I said earlier, this situation we find ourselves could have been avoided if the right thing was being done.
All right.
But what we do as a people, I've been calling for peace. Let's look for a way to solve this problem so that development will not be stalled in River State. Because it is us that is suffering. They are living, they have money. But I cannot go to the market. It's very unfortunate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I've got Inze from Port Harcourt. Inze, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, good evening, or rather good afternoon.
All of the above. Welcome.
Yeah, considering the question on the table, I look at it from this angle, and I would like everyone who is contributing to this to see this thing from this angle. The issue is, does the House of Assembly have power to shut down the expenditure of the state?
Exactly.
I doubt if there's anywhere in the Constitution that contains such law. That's number one. Then number two, if Honorable Martin Sikemwekul faction of the State Assembly have the people of Rivers at heart, what do you think will be the effect of this order they gave to the governor? In a situation where nothing is happening again, have we not really entered into a state of anarchy? Have we not brought in even the state of emergency that was being propagated by Deputy Acting Chairman Tony Okocha? You now see that somehow this battle, we know that definitely it will come to an end someday.
Yes, it will.
But for the interest of the masses, because one thing our politicians do not understand is that this you find yourself today, someone was there yesterday, and by tomorrow another person will be there. The question is, the day you will no longer be in that position, and another person comes in to begin to do what you are doing now, that you are in power, will you be happy? All of us were here in this case in the last 8 years of the former administration. We saw the way the executive and the House of Assembly, the legislatures, we saw the way they related. But in this case, somebody saying that it will not happen. When you were there, you okayed it. No, you are not there. You don't want it. How can we move this country forward?
All right, Inze, I've got to go. But thank you very much for your perspective. Thank you for your perspective. I've got Godspar from Eche. Godspar, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yeah, good evening or good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, I greet the guest in the studio, the brother, Nkwachukwu, Njoku, saying that I greeted him.
Okay.
Yes, he explained areas that have been confusing me. That the House Assembly, whether legitimate now or illegitimate, they have no right to shut down the economy of the river state. And my mind is now coming down because I was afraid that if they shut down, so nothing will happen. Most military, that means they will not give me that one they give for my upkeep. But I'm happy now they will give me that one. But that I'm no battle. So another thing is that they have also told us that look at the people responsible for the accounts and this one. That on no account can anybody, whether anybody, judiciary or court and this, can shut down. Except
it did not say the
the financial improprieties.
It did not say the judiciary cannot. He only said the judiciary would only follow the regulation. So let's get that straight.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, judiciary will not come up. Maybe the House Assembly will take the matter to court.
They can. I am saying they can take the matter to court, but he is saying that the judiciary would have to follow the laws in arriving at a judgment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
So the areas has cleared now. The chartered accountant person there from my place. So I am getting it released from the equivalency of this matter that they are said. And again, I wanted to ask the other side of the House Assembly, the section, who approved their city? Because I know that governor will approve sitting anyway, so the House Assembly is not functioning. Who approves? Who gives them allowances? Who support? Who finance their?
All right, I've got to go. God's power. I've got to go. My time is up for you right now. Isaiah from Buguma, welcome.
Yes, Kalada.
All right, welcome.
Yes, I think the laws of good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you.
The laws passed by the former lawmakers, to me, it's alien to the people. It is anti-people law. Kalada, for the fact that you and your wife, maybe God forbid, it will not be your portion. You have a misunderstanding that led to a divorce. Now, for that sake, your children should suffer for starvation and hunger. What does it concern? How does it concern your children to the point that even if directly, indirectly, it may concern them, but it will not concern them how can it concern them to the point that hunger and starvation become the order of their life? So that is how the things are. Irrespective of what happens, the state must move ahead. Other God, it's money. And money is what it takes to answer all things after God.
All right, Isaiah.
God answers you first, but the second thing that answers you on earth here is money.
Okay.
Without money, I don't think even God knows that we cannot.
All right, Isaiah, I've got to go. I've got to go. I'm really sorry. Mr. Njoku, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so we've arrived at the end of our conversation. I know I told you earlier, but we'll talk for only 30 minutes, but somehow the conversation has taken us to the top of the hour. So I would like you to give us your final thoughts on the situation before us. What do you think is the best move to be made by the governor as it relates to this declaration by the Martin Amewule-led assembly?
Okay, as it stands here, we have two factions of the State House Assembly. This one has issued an instruction, and the other one said today that it should be disregarded, and people should continue with whatever they are doing. And for the governor, he has to look at the financial regulations and the law. As I said earlier, there is nothing in our financial regulations, the public financial regulations in Nigeria, not only in Rivers State, that says that any arm of the government will just decide to shut down expenditures, public expenditures. You know, there is nothing like that. There is no phrase like that. There is no clause. There is no sentence like that in our financial regulations. And that is the authority that I am relying on to make my little contributions to this, to what is happening today. So that is it. So anybody that goes to the court will not just use sentiment. They will look at regulations, they will look at laws, you know, and the evidences and facts, and not reach a judicial or make a judicial pronouncement. Right. So that is the way the court works. So that is it.
All right, thank you very much.
Nothing like no sentiment.
All right, thank you for your time. My time is up. Another commercial break, but thank you very much. I do appreciate your contribution.
You're welcome.
Okay, the other way, in my opinion, is if the Martin Ameule-led assembly would, put out an impeachment notice. But remember, there is the interim order barring the Martin Ameule-led, or barring this chief judge from accepting such documents. Stay tuned.
Nigeria Info. Right back after this.
Oh, Janet, what are you buying there?